for the finish line. This is Primoz. Who is messaging me on Discord, man? I've not had that. Oh, Lucas? Yo.
Jesus Christ! Finally, you British prick! I've got Tejay Van Garderen in the basement right now. If you don't upload soon, him and his family, they're gonna get it. They're getting shot. Straight up. If you don't upload soon, pew pew! They're gonna get it. Okay?
I'll start this video by saying that I haven't played much of the Tour de France 2024 game at all, really. I mean, look at the channel. We've done one video.
Actually, I don't care about it.
That's actually pretty good by my standards. From the little I did play of the game, it was a good release this year, in my opinion. And I don't think there were too many game-breaking glitches, unlike most years with the Tour de France game. I didn't run into any in the little time I was playing, and there was nothing too, like, OP or game-breaking from what I remember. So I think it was a good release this year, and if the game could go off the back of this and improve and be even better, then I think we're onto a winner with this series. But there are still gaping issues, you know, it's a small studio making this game. And there's a lot they can do to improve it, because we, I think, are just starting out. And that's why I go on to make this first point. Because online has so much potential. It worked this year, first of all. That is a great result for everybody. I was playing against actual people, which was a fun experience rather than just AI. However, I did prefer the old FIFA Ultimate Team system that they did with the cards and the grind system. Whereas this year, I was playing with Eddie Fine the whole time and still battering Tadej Pogacar, you know? And it didn't feel right, but that was the way it was. I get having that as a ranked thing, riders of the same rating, so you can compete on a fair and equal level. However, if there was an unranked mode with the FIFA Ultimate Team card system and a way to grind and earn better riders for doing more stuff or winning more races, then I'd like to see that, because it gives it a little more playability than just going up against random people with a Royale rider and going absolutely nuclear up the climbs. Plus, you can do all sorts with it. Team of the Week promos for the Tour de France, get people doing pack openings.
Let's get ready to open some packs!
I don't know why I am complaining for a FIFA-like system. I know what I'm doing, I'm shooting myself in the foot here, but I think there was so much potential in what they had, and they didn't utilise it to the best of their ability because, I mean, the game wasn't online. However, my biggest gripe, and one that I wish that they will include this year, and I'm hoping that they include, is private lobbies. Because if we include private lobbies, suddenly the playability of online is going to go through the roof. All I want to do is go on the game, sit on the game, have a chat with my mates while battering them at the game. That's all I want to do. And the private lobby system would be a perfect way of implementing that. And speaking of things they should bring back from previous games, can we have descent and sprint challenges back, please? Because they were super fun, and they were the only way, really, that you could do a quote-unquote online private lobby by bringing in a friend and having them go on SharePlay. So yeah, if you could bring that back, that'd be very nice. And it means you get that ranked experience of who is the best player of the game, you know? Based on how quickly they go down Col de la Loze or something. And why not put in some individual time trial challenges as well? Just a place to feasibly compare your performance at the game with other people from around the world, instead of having a forced ranked game mode on the online system. I don't mind if they keep it, but I just want something else with a grindable experience and not having bad riders absolutely hammer good riders because they're all the same rating. Do you know what I mean? The Pro Leader and Pro Team updates have been superb this year. I'm going to say it. The addition of actual teams has made the game so much more playable and so much more interesting to have a crack at. I mean, I've only done a very brief Pro Team with Novo Nordisk and a very brief Pro Leader with Intermarché Wanty, but it has been a real change that has made massive impact on, I think, everybody's experience of the game. However, the obvious issue is there. Transfers and the ability to switch team in Pro Leader would be very useful. Transfers as well for the AI teams, just to have a little bit more variability when playing the game. And, you know, not having Jonas Vingegaard having his Visma Super Team and Tadej Pogacar having his UAE Super Team. I know you can do it in PCM, so I'm not sure how easy it would be to implement on the Tour de France game and whether there's licensing issues. I don't think there will be with it being possible in PCM. And the option to have retirements and regen riders, I'd love that to happen. Again, I don't know how easy or hard that would be to implement. I'm not a game designer and I have no place to be ranting at game designers. I'm just giving my ideas. I am sick and tired of being in 2038 and Geraint Thomas is still on Ineos Grenadiers and still doing okay. Regen riders, again, will just make the game a little bit more varied and a little bit more fun to play, I think. I want a little bit more of an immersive Pro Leader this year. Sort of individual objectives like work on the front of the peloton for a teammate or protect a leader in the protection duties of Team Comp. Just to have a couple more objectives and a couple more starter objectives that are easy to obtain but also show that you're working in a team, do you know what I mean? And not always being riding for yourself. Weather would be a massive upgrade. I don't know whether that will come this year. I think that will be something that comes over time. We've never had a rainy race, obviously. It's been dry all the time, and I think that'll be something that comes with the new gen consoles, I'm guessing, but it might not come this year, so I'm going to hold back on saying that. But what I will say, as an idea perhaps for the devs, scenario mode. Let's have a race situation. You've already got the races like Paris-Roubaix, and base them on real life. So, you know, you've got 20 kilometers to go, and you are Mads Pedersen in Paris-Roubaix, and you get like 3 objectives. One of them's finish on the podium, one of them's win, one of them is win solo or something. And perhaps, you know, getting those objectives can give you some coins or credits for the extra content on the Ultimate Team style game mode. Or a grindable aspect of the game. And yeah, I don't think it would be horrifically difficult to put in, and it'd just be something different to Race of the Moment. I'm not a big fan of Race of the Moment. I'm a big fan of the Descent Challenges, but Race of the Moment feels a little bit too much effort with not enough payoff for the development of the game. Like, I don't play it very much at all. I played it a lot when it first came in, but it's kind of worn off already, and yeah, I'm not a major fan of it. Anyway, that's all the waffling from me about Tour de France 2024. So without further ado, let's have a look at this trailer then. Let's break it down into its individual pieces, because that is what we love to do on the Taylisten channel. We love to overcomplicate things.
Okay, let's go.
So we are on frame 1 of the trailer. The first thing I can see is that the UAE Team Emirates World Champions jersey looks to be popping off a little bit more. I don't know whether they're just colour grading the trailer to make things pop a little bit more. That's Mont Ventoux in the background and all of that, but it looks like there could be a new World Champs jersey, because the previous World Champs jersey was very bland, very stale, very grey kind of, from what I remember. So that looks like a positive sign to me.
For cycling fans globally!
There we are, ladies and gentlemen. Tour de France and Pro Cycling Manager have Unreal Engine graphics now. It's been a rumour for a long time. and it has now been announced. For me, graphics aren't too much of an issue. I'd rather have a game that plays well than a game that looks nice. However, if the game can look nice and play well, it'll do so much for the wider community, because it is quite hard a lot of the time seeing trailer releases for the game only for people to go, it looks like a PS3 game, and it is fair criticism, but I think it's a really good game made by an indie dev, and it would get more people into the Tour de France and cycling generally if it looked nice enough to buy. So yeah, I think the graphics update can be a positive, however, it will only be a positive if they get the game right, and I'm really hoping that they can do this year because it's a big upgrade. So hopefully they've been working on this for a while and all of the teething issues are ironed out. Although, the ability to make a glitches video and farm some views from that would be very nice. So if you do have any glitches, send them in to me. And in the trailer, the graphics change doesn't look drastic. I don't think it ever would look drastic. I think this is going to be a change that happens over time. So we're going to be seeing better graphics each year, I think. So basically just temper your expectations slightly. It's not going to be a complete overhaul, I don't think. However, it's going to be a gradual increase year on year, which is good. The main thing I've noticed here is that the AI system may be a little bit bugged, because why are Jaco Alula wearing the yellow jersey at the Tour de France? That's never going to happen in real life. Just looking at the face of this Uno X rider, it looks slightly different from previous years, so maybe we're getting a graphics overhaul on the faces. I think the graphics do look like a slight change, and a slight change in the positive direction. It just looks a little bit cleaner, and I am a big fan of that. However, one thing that does concern me is that most teams are on generic bikes. Now, this has been the case in previous trailers, so I'm not going to get too worried about it because they've added in equipment afterwards. However, in the trailer, Soudal Quickstep are on S-Works bikes, so perhaps they've only got the licenses for those? I'm a little bit concerned, but that might be something that gets released gradually over time like it did in previous years' games. So I'm not going to get too hung up on that. That Colombian national champions jersey is absolutely sweet. I don't know whether it's because it's with black shorts. However, I don't remember the Colombian Natty Champs jersey going that hard. That is something that's going to have next to no impact to anybody's game, so I don't even know why I've said that. And as much as I've rinsed the AI for not being realistic that Jaco are in the yellow jersey, Dylan Groenewegen has just finished 12th in the Champs-Élysées sprint, so I think the realism is back up. This is an important point that I am about to make. Tour de France 2025 and Pro Cycling Manager 2025 available June 5th, 2025. Now if you look at the console list at the bottom there, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. This is going to be new gen only. And that's a problem for me because I don't own a PlayStation 5, so I'm going to have to dig into a bank that is not full at all. However, Wout van Aert is going to be your cover star by the looks of it this year, and in all honesty, I am mildly excited. Dare I say it. I think we could be on for a game that may not be overtly memorable. If we're going to a new graphics engine, I don't think there'll be too many in-game updates, if you get what I mean. I think a lot of the focus will have been on improving the graphics and getting everything onto the Unreal Engine. So don't expect too much from an in-game experience. I think it's just going to be the 2024 game kind of ported on. Hopefully they've got some extra bits to make it more exciting, but I'm not going to expect too much from the developers this year. It's going to be next year where everything is already set, all of the bugs have been ironed out, and various other parts. It's going to be next year's game where I really do my critique and be critical of the developers, because I think this year, moving to the new engine, it's going to be a whole new experience. Hopefully the gameplay is alright. Again, I don't think the gameplay is that much of an issue in 2024's game, so we'll see how the gameplay compares in 2025. Of course, I would say hold your purchase, because it's going to be very important to know that the game actually works before you buy the game. It may have major issues, and the chance of it having major issues I think is going to be higher moving to the new graphics engine. You look at a game like Football Manager, which has totally struggled after attempting to move to a higher graphics engine. I don't think it's going to be the same with this game, because they've actually released trailers for it. However, yeah, just be aware to not buy the game too early, and I'm a little bit worried that they haven't gone old gen consoles as well, but maybe I understand it from the graphics perspective to have it on new gen only. It's just going to price some people out of the market. And to finish off, we'll have some exclusive news from the Taylorson channel. The team list has been confirmed, and it has the same teams as last year. There will be no new teams. However, some of them have real names now. So TDT Rockets, I believe, will have their actual jersey in the game, rather than just being Sorbet team like they were last year. And I think Flanders Baloise have joined the license this year. So if you like playing as those smaller teams, then that is a good sign for you. I love playing as Flanders Baloise, and I'm sure there'll be lots of people doing a pro team or pro leader on TDT Rockets this year. I can just imagine. So a trailer rating out of 10, I will give it cautiously optimistic out of 10. Okay, now can you release TJ from the basement?